Hello, and welcome to the Tuning In podcast. I'm Dana Evans, your inner voice and emotional support coach. In this podcast, we explore the deep wisdom that lives in our bodies, emotions, and inner voice. Together, we'll shed the layers that no longer serve us, creating space to tap into the flow of life and experience true ease. So, are you ready to join me? Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. Today, we are talking about rage, hikes, and the antidote to anger. Ooh, let's dive in. We are told all of the time to calm down, to breathe, to soften, to not make a big deal out of things. But during a recent hike, I had a moment that challenged all of that. A major insight, a full body shift in how society tells us to handle our emotions versus what our emotions actually need. Okay, it all started out so well. A beautiful day, quality time with my husband, connection, nature, all of my favorite things. But under the surface, there were choppy waters, clouds building, a brooding energy that I didn't want to look at. Something was bubbling. An old story, a familiar pattern, a massive wave of anger that threatened to take me over. But this time, I saw it through a different lens. Instead of forcing myself to calm down or dismissing the anger with, "Everything's fine, it's a beautiful day, you're being silly," I did something else. Something that served me and the anger in a way that you might not expect. As I started walking, moving through the hike, the crunch of the dirt underneath my feet, something else was building. That undercurrent of anger was starting to rise. Not a small irritation, but that simmering kind of anger that starts forming a case against someone. In this case, was my husband. My mind was building a case. He always does this. I'm bending again. Why can't he just? With every step, the story got louder. The anger got hotter. And my body? Well, I was feeling it. Tight chest, gritted jaw, clenched fists. My mind tried to jump in to fix it. Just calm down. You're being dramatic. You're in nature. Don't worry so much. Don't make this bigger than it needs to be. Except it felt big inside. And trying to make it fine was actually making it worse. And here's the thing. Trying to calm down before we've honored what really is inside doesn't bring peace. It brings pressure. And that pressure wants somewhere to go. And if we don't give it space to move, it will burst in ways that feel sharp or numb or withdrawn or explosive. It will find its way out. And in that moment, as I felt it building, I no longer wanted to suppress it. But I also didn't want to direct it at someone. So I asked myself, what do I do with all this energy? And my body answered before my mind could. The answer was to move. So I let myself. I moved, not politely, not spiritually, certainly not gracefully. I stomped. I walked harder. I clenched my fists. I let the stories rage through my mind as I let my body match the heat. At one point, I was even punching the air. That's also the point that a biker passed me mid-outburst. I felt embarrassed for a second, but the moment passed and I kept going. Because that energy, it didn't want to be silenced. It wanted to move. Anger isn't the enemy. Anger is a signal. It's energy that needs to be expressed, transmuted, metabolized. It burns through stories, burns through old armor, burns through what is no longer true. And the more I moved, the less grip those thoughts had on me. They started to dissolve. Not because I forced them away, but because I gave them room to be felt. Eventually, I paused. My heart was pounding, my breath heavy, but suddenly stillness found me. Not because I told myself to calm down, but because the fire had burned through. That stillness I found, it wasn't forced. It wasn't from pretending that everything was okay. It came because I let myself ride the wave all the way through. From chaos to calm, from intensity to insight, from confusion to clarity. We often try to shortcut that process. We silence the emotion, call it fine, and hope it'll just go away. But that's not peace. That's shut down. And pretend peace keeps us stuck in this wave. Because when we suppress instead of express, that emotion doesn't just disappear. It just waits. And then it festers. Suppression turns into aggression. Aggression turns into regression. And suddenly we're not just angry, we're sabotaging, withdrawing, or lashing out at the people we love. But when we have the courage to lean in to the emotion, to trust our body to hold it, to expand with it instead of shrink away, we rise to the peak of that wave. And when it crashes, we don't crash with it. We land. And on the other side, there it is. The true calm, the real peace, the kind that holds clarity, not confusion, the kind that connects us instead of numbs us. That's the place where we want to speak from. That's where the truth lives. Not in the swirl, not in the shutdown, but in the steady ground that only comes after we've moved through the storm. So if you've ever been told to calm down, to just breathe through it, to soften, to quiet or let it go, but deep down, something in you says, that's not what I need. This is your reminder. You're not wrong. Sometimes the path to peace isn't silence. It's movement, expression, a little chaos, and a lot of honesty. You don't need to fear the wave. You were built to move through it. You were designed to fully feel so you can land fully too. Because fine isn't the goal. Pretending everything's okay isn't peace. And performing calm only keeps you from the clarity that's waiting underneath. So if there's something rising within you, a frustration, a truth, a pulse of energy that doesn't want to be contained, maybe this is your moment to let it rise, to trust that there's wisdom in the wave, that your body knows how to carry you through, and that on the other side, well, you'll meet yourself again. Not in pieces, not in pressure, but in wholeness and peace and power. Let the anger be felt. Let the sadness wash through. Let your body do what it needs to do. Because that wisdom in how to move through, that lives within you. And sometimes calming down does not make it better, but actually makes it worse. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. This episode ended up being quite a bit shorter than I anticipated, but I love how the message comes through. And truthfully, it's how it moved through me on this hike. So I was on the hike and I felt this pressure as I explained. And as I moved through it, right away, I felt clarity. It was fast. It couldn't have been more than 10 minutes. And so I opened my notes app and I started recording right away. And this is the fruits of that recording. And it was that immediate insight that comes on the other side of intensity. And so I wanted you all to feel this, to move with me through that the way I did on a hike, and know that this too can show up for you. It doesn't always have to be this big, complicated, complex experience in order to get to the other side. I moved through it in 5 to 10 minutes, and I shared it in 11. And that's something that you can start to work into your daily life. Emotion doesn't have to fester and simmer and brood and breed within you. The more we move it, the more we let it loose, the more we let it be seen, heard, felt, experienced, the more we get to the other side. And what is the other side? It's intensity to insight, confusion to clarity, chaos to calm. And that's what I want us all to experience. So I'll keep sharing as I have these micro moments showing up, just really everyday life experiences. And I'll share the bigger, more intense things. I'm here to walk you through this, to be with you, and to show you how it can be experienced, right? The challenges and the light and all of the in between. With that, I am so excited. Next week's episode, it is a big one that I've been thinking about for a while now, both in my own witnessing and witnessing what my clients have been going through. And I did a little teaser on Instagram about letting go. And the consensus was, let's turn this into a full-blown episode. So I worked on it. I got through all the thoughts, all of the energies, all of my journaling, and really built out a beautiful episode for you all. So tune in next week for the episode all about letting go and a new way to experience it, why it's so hard, and how we can experience it with more grace, more ease, more intention. Thank you as always for tuning in. I love sharing with you all, and I've loved receiving the text this episode notes that you all are sending. So please keep it up. If you have any questions or any shares, at the bottom of the show notes, there's a link. It says text this episode. If you click it from your phone, it literally opens a text message and then it sends me an email of your message. So if you want me to know who it's from, please give me your name because it doesn't tell me. But if you want to keep it anonymous, you can do that too. I won't know who it's from. I just get an email that says someone has sent a message to you. So I really appreciate these shares. It really helps me feel more connected to you as an audience. And, all of this is me. I do the writing, I do the editing, I do the recording, I do the uploading. Well, me and my friend ChatGPT, my coworker. But it's so nice to hear from the audience, right? So you can always reply to my emails. I read every single one. You can always text the episode. And of course, if this resonates or you think it will support someone else, I welcome you to share it. That helps spread the word of this podcast. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Bye. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Tuning In podcast. If you loved this episode, please rate and review it or share it with a friend. If you want to go deeper into the realm of emotions and learn the language of your body, check out my audio course, Emotions Decoded, at alignful.com/audio. As always, you can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans. See you next week.